Good evening. It's Australia's showcase to the world, but today US President Barack Obama threw out a challenge to Tony Abbott by putting climate change firmly on the G20 agenda. In a landmark speech, the president won over his audience with jokes about Australia, then opened debate on the one subject Mr Abbott would probably rather avoid.
Clearly happy to be down under.
I love Australia.
It was a warm welcome for the US president. Hard to miss Air Force One, Obama barely got to breathe the Aussie air before stepping into his helicopter for a joy flight over Brisbane with a decoy close behind. There was more than one decoy. Two presidential cars, dubbed the Beast, and eagle-eyed snappers seemed to spot more than one president. He started off charming.
My staff was very excited for Vegas. When I arrived, they advised I needed some 4X.
But then, for Tony Abbott, he delivered a stinging rebuke of his government's climate change policy.
I know there's been a healthy debate in this country about it. Here in the Asia Pacific, nobody has more at stake when it comes to thinking about and then acting on climate change.
Earlier, the Prime Minister greeted the leaders of the world's 20 largest nations at a lunchtime retreat with his own boast.
I made 4 promises to the Australian people. First, that I would repeal the carbon tax, and that's gone.
But it didn't gel with the US president, who just this week sealed a climate change deal with China.
And if China and the United States can agree on this, then the world can agree on this. We can get this done.
The biggest applause for the US president came when he mentioned climate change and said the world has to act and that something needs to be done for both developed and developing nations. It was a speech that also had significant changes in terms of trade, saying that the Asia Pacific is a key ally but also a key place for the United States to do business. More than anything, the president encouraged the 1,100 young students in the room to change the way of old folks.
It is in the nature of things, it is in the nature of the world that those of us who start getting gray hair are a little set in our ways, that interests are entrenched.
The disagreement on climate change aside, Obama reiterated that our two countries' relationship has never been stronger.
Today, our alliances, including with Australia, are stronger than they have ever been.
He especially said the US supports Australia in its efforts to uncover the cause of the crash of MH17.
Which is a threat to the world, as we saw in the appalling shoot-down of MH17.
The tension with Russia and its president remains, something that Tony Abbott referenced at an informal lunch.
If we could use first names, that would be good as well, because whatever disagreements we might have, I think it helps if there can at least be personal warmth.
The mood would not have been helped after comments by Putin criticised the G20 for harsh economic sanctions. Tomorrow, the US president will have further meetings with Tony Abbott and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. But today, he got a rock star reception. And true to that, he went out to the strains of an Aussie-American favourite, Keith Urban.